Okay, so welcome to Zygote Discovery. This is definitely a treat. Today, I have with me Antonio Smith. But just before we begin, I give you his bio. This is Zygote Discovery. We discuss and we analyze the careers of leading pioneers, scientists, and also my good colleagues who are making an impact and making strides in their own space and in their own right. Like I said, today I have with me Antonio Smith. We went to high school together, so he is similar to one of
Yes.
my previous guests, Aaron Lavardi. He moved from Freeport to Tallahassee. He has played football, soccer, and ran track. He graduated. He also currently works as a quality inspector at KUS. And he still plays sports in his downtime. He's done some entrepreneurship work, and he also has a podcast himself. So one of the main highlights for me today is being able to chat to one of my good friends for we've been friends for is it
Wow.
probably more than 10 years. Maybe
Yeah.
more than 10 years. More
Well,
than
but
10
we've
years.
been out of school for 10 years.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We've been out of high
Yeah.
school for 10 years. We've been friends for a good while. A good while. But yeah, Antonio, it's good to have you on the podcast. Really good.
I'm glad to be
Um,
here, David.
Yes, yes, yes. So we both had the privilege of going to BMES, one of the top schools in the country. What do you think
Yes.
BMES gave us that prepared us for everything that came after? Any favorite memories
Um,
outside of the tuck shop?
I mean, oddly enough, you know what my favorite memory is?
Favorite
Our
memory, bro?
weekend classes, like our Saturday and Sunday classes that we had in
Oh,
grade
right, I
11.
know. Yeah,
Yeah.
bro. And then my
Physics
afternoon
and
classes
chemistry.
too, eh? It's
Yeah.
like the school was a vacuum. Like you just stuck to the school.
It was 7 days a week. We were there 7 days a
I
week.
know, bro. I know. It's interesting. We had like chemistry classes, and then also add to the fact that we had coursework that we had to do while we were in those
Yes.
classes in high school.
Yep.
Yeah. So you said your favorite memories were the Saturday classes. What about them? Was it the teaching or was it the fun afterwards?
I think I honestly we had fun while we were in class, you know? Like
That's true.
the,
That's
the
true. That's
group
true.
that we had in our physics and chemistry class, like we had a solid core that no matter what, and of course with Mr. Lim as well. Like we
Yeah.
had our classes were just amazing, you know?
Yeah. I agree with you.
Learning
I
new
agree with you.
topics, we were always excited to grasp new concepts. It was great.
It was good. It was good. And you make a valid point because, like, the class was constructed in such a way that learning was very engaging. We had opportunities to learn concepts, to ask good questions, to the point where when we had to compete in external competitions like Battle of the Brains, we won. Yeah.
Yes.
So, me, Gabby, Chadwin, and other people as well, when we competed, we won. So that speaks volumes as to the caliber of the school. So you left one of the best schools in the Bahamas in your senior year, moved to Tallahassee. That must have been a huge decision. And I want to camp out here for a bit. Walk us through what made you make that jump, and like logistics and like emotions and like personality. How did you go about making that jump?
So when it came down to actually making the decision, I didn't have as much input because, you know, at that age, I'm still a kid.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah,
but I was actually born here in Miami. So
yeah.
the thought of finishing high school down here has always been it's always been talked about in our household. And it's because, you know, in-state tuition. When I was ready to go off to college, I was granted in-state tuition. And it wasn't until the eighth grade that I had that conversation with my parents.
Okay,
And
okay.
we sat down and they kind of walked me through it, saying, you know, it's going to be easier. You're going to be a step ahead when it comes down to college admissions. And it actually didn't look like it was going to happen because eighth grade, I spent, you know, back home, ninth grade,
Yeah.
10th grade. So I kind of gave up on it. And it wasn't until
Okay.
the end of our junior year that things started to fall into place where it ended up being, oh, hey, yeah, this summer you're moving, you're going to Tallahassee. And so
Okay.
there was about a 2 week span where
Mhm.
we got down logistics, we started getting all of my supplies and everything for school. We did all of my applications, and then I was out. Once everything was
Okay,
solidified,
uh,
we were.
so what was sort of like the mindset? What would you say? I think one thing about us, people who grow up in the Bahamas, especially in Freeport, we know that coming out of Freeport, and even Freeport is not easy. Come here and to like thrive in these places. Me and Aaron spoke about this too. So walk us through, what was your mindset? What did you do? Like, how was the transition when you first arrived? People always ask me the question of, how does it feel to be away from your family? Walk us through, like, what was that experience like, and how did you, like, you're thriving now, so how did you make it to this point?
So honestly, it was difficult because, I was at BMES since I was in nursery. So the elementary school
Discovery.
Discovery.
You were there when the name changed. That's how long you was there.
I was there when the name changed.
Oh man.
So, people like me and Gabby, I had literally known Gabby my entire life, basically.
Yeah, Gabrielle Moss. Yes.
And when it came down to it, it was just like, everybody goes through their high school career and they're thinking, oh, senior year, I'm going to have all my friends around. It's going to be the best year ever. And here it is. I get pulled away from my friends, and I'm now in a completely different environment. I have to now make a new group of friends and get accommodated to this new lifestyle that I have. And there was a period where I actually went through a depression. And
okay.
It took, a lot of conversations. I got closer with my older sister. We had a lot of conversations. I would call her just about every day. A lot more relying on my faith. I had to.
Okay.
I was reading the Bible more. I was more active in church, and I'd say after about maybe 3 months, I kind of settled in. I was like, you know what, everything is going to be moving forward for the better, but this is life right now.
Yeah, I hear you, bro.
Tuck tail and run, or I could put my nose to the grindstone and keep moving through, and that's what I did.
Keep putting one step in front of the other. Like,
Yes.
I appreciate you sharing that story because, everyone at some point in their journey, especially people who come from the Bahamas to the US, will experience, whether it be loneliness or sadness or nostalgia or whatever, something in that list of emotions. But the reality is, I think growing up in the Bahamas gave us a set of skills when it came to socialization, being able to go into a new place and make new friends. These are foundational skills that you kind of learn in your early years, but they're really solidified as you become an adult, going into new spaces, making new friends, having a good value system. You talk about faith, being able to delve deep into community when you face rough spots, which inevitably will happen at life, whether it be emotionally, physically, interpersonally, and then also being able to put up good boundaries. Yeah, I had a few rough spots too. I have really rough spots myself, but thankfully I had good community, good support systems that whenever I encountered rough spots or rough patches, I was able to work my way through them. And this is the thing. Sometimes it's not so much about, we see it, we name it, we acknowledge it, rough spots, rough challenges, rough things happen in life. I think sometimes it's not so much about avoiding those things or even compartmentalizing those things. Sometimes you have to compartmentalize to function, but I think it's not so much about avoiding those things, but really acknowledging them and getting the help that you need when you encounter those types of things. So that's very good. That's very good. Glad you shared that story. So 3 sports in 1 year: football, soccer, and track. That BMES work ethic really showed up. What sport hits different in the States versus back home?
Obviously we don't play football in high school back home, so learning that sport was an adjustment. I mean, I watched it with my dad on Sundays and everything, but to actually be on the field playing it,
the Dolphins.
our Dolphins. But
I know, but like every Bahamian seems like they're a Dolphin fan. From what I've gathered, like especially people in my church, they're big Dolphin fans.
It's the closest. It's the closest team to us.
I know, right? That's the closest in geography.
Yeah.
Everyone's a Dolphins fan. I mean, people get all worked up about Dolphins. I mean, I just sit back and just watch.
It's like we're close enough. We might as well say that we're from Florida. That's what
true. That's true. I got you.
But
yeah, bro,
honestly, the biggest adjustment, the sport that hit different was soccer, because
you always good at soccer. You and Aaron and Joshua.
Yeah, it was an adjustment, because when you get over here, the game, like it's a lot more technical and it plays at a faster pace. So having that adjustment, where back home we were always one of the better players on the field, and
some of the best.
Yes, crunch time, they could count on us to make plays and put away the game. But over here it was, everybody has skill, everybody can play. You have to find what it is that makes you different. You have to elevate your game to the next level, and that's something that I took to heart, and I had to go through it, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna prove that I deserve to be. I'm gonna prove that I'm at this level, that I'm there or better than where they expect me to be. And in addition to that, we're in the Bahamas, tropical climate, to move to Tallahassee, where during the winter we were hitting 20 degrees, and our games are at night, sometimes in the rain. So that was an adjustment, running up and down on the field when every breath hurts and it feels like your nose is about to fall off. You have to really find that perseverance. You have to drive and push yourself through it.
Yep. You have to have grit. You have to practice self-care. You have to practice. Basically, what you're pointing to is resilience. I interviewed someone. Dude, this is really good. I knew this conversation was going to be really good. I'm going to have to re-listen to this episode just to hear this snippet. But dude, I interviewed someone. His name is Sima Bajaj. He is a New York Times fellow, graduated from Harvard. He also is a really established science communicator, Marshall Scholar, going to Stanford for medical school, really accomplished guy. And one of the things he said that stood out to me was, he said, when he first tried to break into journalism, tried to get into the field, he sent, I think, over 500 cold emails and got no response. But he continuously persevered and pushed through it. And look at him now. In my mind, this dude is on the verge of probably winning a Pulitzer Prize in the next 5 to 10 years, or probably 15 years. But I think perseverance, it pays off. Another story, anecdote I could share with you. One of my mentors, his name is Dr. Robert Langer. He's a professor at MIT. He talked about how when he was writing his grant, he experienced rejections with his grant applications. But he persevered through them, and now he's one of the most cited chemical engineers in history, or the most cited chemical engineer in history. So, it takes time, but I think one of the things that growing up in the Bahamas, having a good support system back home and having a good family structure at home allows you to have is this capacity to be resilient. And I think that's something that you were speaking about. Another thing we talked about was how when you transitioned from Bahamas to the US, the thing sped up in terms of technicality, in terms of cadence, and in terms of precision. That's not just in soccer, that's also in school as well. The technicality that's expected of you is much more higher. The cadence of the work is different. And also the precision that's expected from you is also higher. So that I think that's a whole, we could delve into that a little bit later. So you still play sports to stay active. Clearly that BMES culture of staying sharp stayed with you. How do you keep a competitive edge all these years later?
So, like you said, I've always been good at soccer, and it's always been my love. And I, growing up back home, we had soccer on Wednesday evenings. We had Saturday mornings. We had, for those of us that were interested in it, we were actually junior referees and we were getting trained. So we would officiate matches. Yep, we would officiate matches on Sunday evenings and then play on Sunday after that. And a lot of the guys that we would play with were significantly older than us. We would play with some of our friends' parents, and that stuck with me. I was like, you know what? As long as I can, I'm going to play this game.
Yeah, that's good, man. That's good. My brother's like that too.
You have to keep that with you, because in addition to it being something that keeps me physically healthy, it actually helps with my mental stability. Because if I have a rough day at work, or if I have a lot that I'm dealing with socially, or when it comes down to my family, I know on Wednesday I'm gonna go out to the field. I can de-stress and I can play, and it'll help keep me grounded. On Fridays I also play, so that's another outlet. So it helps to center me.
Yeah, you are very, very right. Spot on. It's so important to have outlets. No, everything just can't be or centered around. At least in my opinion, it can't. Everything just can't be centered around some type of goal or pursuit or work. Yeah. It can't be that way. You have to have outlets. So, and they have to be healthy outlets too, like you mentioned.
Yes.
So that's very good. Very, very good. So let's talk about, okay, in terms of real talk, what do you think some Americans don't understand about Bahamian culture? What do you think they don't understand about Bahamian culture? And what did you not understand about American culture until you got it?
Fortunately,
what do you think?
I was lucky enough.
Let's put like a comma on this. Comma, some people.
Okay,
go
yes.
ahead.
So I would say I'll start with the American culture. I was lucky enough. I have family that lives over here, so I was always exposed to the U.S. culture. So it wasn't much that really caught me by surprise. It wasn't much that
it wasn't a shock when you saw an escalator.
Yeah, you know.
You were shocked. Like, well, the staircase is going up.
Exactly. You know, been there, done that.
Done.
But in terms of what some people don't realize about the Bahamas is, first of all, we're not a part of Jamaica. Okay.
All Barbados.
Thank you. We are our own independent nation.
Of course.
Since July 10th, 1973.
73, yes, of course.
But, I mean, other than that, it would be how developed we are as a country. Because there have been times where, you know, I've had my cousins have told me, oh, people ask me if we swing from vines. People ask me if the first time that I got close is when I moved to America. And I've had personally people ask me, oh, do you guys have internet? Do you guys have cell phones? We do. We may be a third world country, but the Bahamian dollar is on par with the US dollar. We are a developed country.
Yeah, you bring up a good point, you know. I think you can't like look at every developing nation. Some may say third world, but I think the term that you developing, you can't look at every developing nation with the same lens, because not every developing nation has the same level of development. So yeah, the Bahamas does have some resource constraints when it comes to certain industries or certain sectors, but when it comes to professional skills, when it comes to opportunities to get your foundation in terms of education, when it comes to representation, I think we do a pretty good job with that, because you can see what you're aspiring for quite easily in the Bahamas when it comes to the traditional fields like medicine, law, accounting, even politics. Quite easy for you to look on television and see someone who looks like you or who is doing something similar to you, or similar to those traditional fields. So I think those are areas where we are strong. So the Bahamian diaspora in Florida is actually strong. How do you keep that community connection alive while building a life in the States? And honest, how often do you get asked to bring something back when you visit home?
Honestly, every time I
every
go.
Time.
And it's on both sides.
It's on both sides. People actually bring stuff. Some people there actually bring stuff. Everywhere you go. Yeah.
As it's right now, I have 2 bags of fish in my freezer. 2 bags of barracuda for my cousin.
Okay.
So it's.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, it's always, you know, but that's a part of our
Can you bring
culture.
me something? That's a part of culture. That's true. That's true. It's collectivist. It's collectivist. So, what do you miss most about the Bahamas that you just can't replicate in Florida? And don't say the water because that's too easy.
Um, I would say the vibe or the actual energy of the island, right? The best way I could describe it is there's a certain feeling to the island itself that can't be replicated. You know?
I agree with you. Time slows down. Yeah, time slows down when you get back home. I agree with you.
Definitely. And
Also, it's like comparing the American fish fry to the Bahamian fish fry.
yeah, and also it's also a feeling of wholeness, you know?
Okay, yeah, I get you. Yeah, that's true. So, what do you mean by that? A feeling of wholeness.
Like for me personally, like yes, I've been over here now for 12 years, and it's I can go and come, and you know I don't have much emotions behind leaving home to come back over here, but when I am home, I feel complete. You know what I mean? It's a feeling of this is where I belong.
Okay, that's powerful, bro. That's powerful. A sense of belonging. That's
Yes.
powerful. That is powerful. Yeah, but yeah, like some people on the I'm not gonna call it show back home because I'm not gonna show on the show. The dude like he used to like to say, "This is powerful. This is powerful."
Truly, this is
Like,
powerful.
truly, this is powerful. But I think, but on a serious note, that is powerful because you know, when you have a sense of belonging, I think you're able to operate with more agency. What I mean by that is this: when you feel like you belong somewhere, you're more inclined to act and to make a difference, to act on your own independent initiative. When you have a sense of belonging and beyond just the acting, it does bring a sense of like wholeness, a sense of completion, because you feel as if you belong there, and that I think that's such a powerful experience personally, and also collectively when people feel like they belong somewhere. And I think you bring up another good point. I think that's something that some students, whether they be international or not, some students struggle with that even in university settings, where they question whether they belong where they are. And that's something I think something that you have to. It's some may say it's a decision that you have to make to say I choose to belong here. That's one way to put it. And at the same time, the environment may also be a reminder of whether you belong or not. But I think at some point you have to come to a conclusion. I come to a certain conclusion that you either belong at a place or not, whether the environment is supportive of you or not, whether you have decided. I think this is where agency kicks into gear. You have decided that I'm going to belong at this place, and I need to belong here for this period of time. I want it a healthy place. So I think I lean more to that side of the spectrum where, you know, no matter how it looks, you make a decision. It's supposed to be here. And this is where faith kicks into gear. If you believe that God is leading you somewhere, you belong where He leads you.
Yep.
And that has implications for how you carry yourself. And that also has implications for the boundaries you put up and the people you let into your life, the friends you keep and the friends you let go of. That has a lot of implications. So that's a very, very good point. So if you could tell your senior year self at BMES one thing before making the move to Tallahassee, what would it be besides invest in sand dollar or Bitcoin? You all wish we would have done that. But by the way, this is not an endorsement. This is not an endorsement of Bitcoin. Endorsement. Just to say that. Just to clarify. But yeah, you go ahead. What would you have told your senior self?
Piggybacking on what I said before, where you know that move was rough, I would tell myself that it gets easier. Stay the course, and do what you have to do because it gets easier.
Yeah.
So even though everything that I went through that senior year, feeling like similar to what you said just now, that sense of belonging, like I felt like an outsider. you know, because here I am now. I'm the
We all
new
been
kid
there,
in
bro.
the
We all
senior
been
year,
there.
and I have all of these friends that I'm making. Obviously, they're also excited for senior year, but I feel almost as if I'm intruding on it because I feel like I, didn't put the time in with them.
You
I wasn't
you
there
almost feel.
when, like I just popped up at the end. Hey, I'm here, you know? So it was
Demons are popping up everywhere.
exactly. So it
Oh
was
man.
it was difficult, but that would be what I would tell myself. It gets easier. Just keep going. Keep pushing through.
I agree with you, bro. That's powerful. That's an important thing. Very, very important. You know, even for me, do it like in the Bahamas when I'm home. I drive. Drive. But at this point, I haven't gotten to a point where I've allocated that in terms of holds to get a car as yet. So I don't drive over here. So that's definitely an adjustment for me. Even though I have all the licenses and stuff like that, it's definitely an adjustment. But the thing I have to remind myself is everything starts with humble.
Yes.
Everything starts with humble beginnings. No one just like one of my relatives like to say, I didn't just blow up here as big as I am. It took time for me to develop. And what they're saying is things take time. And the only thing that develops fast is disease. The only thing that develops fast is certain diseases. Everything takes time. Every good thing takes time. And then another thing I think about is I told one of my buddies this in pharmacy school because she was telling me about how she was a little bit disappointed that she had to adjust and retake a few classes. But I told her this. I was like, struggle is important. There's value in the struggle. And what I mean by that is this is what I remind myself of when I'm walking from place to place, as opposed to driving back home in the Bahamas. The struggle has its purpose because the struggle gives you the right perspective of yourself, so that when you arrive at the destination that you're trying to get at, you have the right perspective of yourself and the other people who are trying to get there. And it also gives you the right perspective of others, in that when you see them while you're trying to get where you're trying to get, you keep them in good perspective or in good light, or you have a good frame of mind towards them. So I think there's value in the struggle, whether it be emotionally, whether it be physically, whether it be academically. Of course, community is important. Get help if you need it, of course. But at the same time, I think just automatically happens. And I think one of the things you talked about, there were things you mentioned, but you talked about it gets easier as you keep going. That's an important thing to know. As you come up with, James Clear talks about habits and systems. As you come up with systems to get things done, you come up with systems for your work and your rest, your routines, and you evaluate them periodically to see whether they're getting you where you're trying to go. And at the same time, you zoom in, zoom out, in terms of zooming in on your values, zooming out on the big picture goals that you have set, making sure that you are flexible in the path, but inflexible on your values as long as they are good, moral, and sound. I think those things, they'll help you to develop to a point where it's becoming easier, becoming a matter of execution. Like playing tennis. Playing tennis is not easy when you first start. Trust me, you'll be hitting that ball all over the fence. But once you learn the proper strokes, routine, backswing, you learn how to take the racket back, you learn the timing, the footwork, it becomes a little bit easier to the point where you can pick up a racket, even playing the clarinet. And these are things that I personally do. Even playing the clarinet. If you, to the point where I can pick up a clarinet and play. But when I first started, me and the birds were competing. I think the birds were more annoyed than I was. Oh man, birds and other people in the neighborhood. But it is what it is. You have to develop somehow.
Yep.
But yeah,
Rome wasn't built in a day.
Of course not, bro. Rome was not built in a day, and neither is the degree acquired in a day, or accomplishments developed in a day, or a car purchased for someone who's recently a new space. Purchasing a day, you don't get everything that you want and need in one sitting. It takes time. And I think there's value in the time that it takes to get that. There's values and then like best practices. And also, the other thing I mentioned is many times we want these things, right? We want thing X, thing Y. But You need to develop the best practices so that when you arrive there, you can stay there. You don't fall back to what you were doing beforehand.
Yes.
You have the skills, the knowledge, the personality, the values to keep you there. Like people talk about you rent your title, but your character you own. You need to make sure you have the right character so that when you arrive at destination X, you can stay there and not fall down. But yeah, dude, let's do a quick rapid fire as we start to wrap up. Kong salad, Dame style, don't even bother.
Bahamian style 100%. And this
100%.
one, this might ruffle some feathers. Mayo does not belong in Kong salad.
I completely agree with you. You put your lime, your little scotch bonnet, or whatever pepper you want to put in it. Yeah, or your little type of sauce, and you make sure you cut them up nice. And also, okay, let me add this on. West End or Taylor Beach for Kong salad?
West End.
West End. Okay, we agree. We agree on that too. Okay, so volleyballs and Saxons. Now this is gonna ruffle some feathers, but that's okay. that's okay.
We go with volley.
Go with volley? Okay, who are we? The volley, yes. Okay, so jungle crowds or Florida football stadiums.
So I have to go with Florida stadiums because
boom,
I know. But from start to finish, the entire building is buzzing with energy. Like it's always electric, and it doesn't matter what level is playing. It could be middle school, it could be professional, but it's always going to be high energy.
Wow, you're being optimistic in that one. Okay, so what's the most underrated thing about the Bahamas?
Underrated? I would say for me, because I didn't appreciate it enough while I was there, the beaches.
Beaches, yeah, you're right, bro. Okay, so what's one thing BMS taught you that you use every single day?
I would say this is a combination of BMES and my parents. It's to put your best foot forward. Put your best foot forward always, and understand that every day is a new opportunity to be a better person and show what you're capable of.
Yeah, man. Thank you, Antonio, man. This was a really good conversation, man.
Yes.
So good to catch up with you. So once again, you have this Zeitgeist Discovery, and I was able to catch up with one of my excellent, good, long-standing friends. At Zeitgeist Discovery, we host some of the best, brilliant, most influential minds, as well as key people making an impact in society and in their own lives. Thanks again for listening. Please note, the views of this podcast represent those of my guests and I, and these views do not constitute medical or professional advice. Please see a board-certified, state-licensed health professional for medical and professional advice. Disclaim any loss in any way. Thanks again for listening.